If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap once. They said, Mike, come to L.A. and talk to our young people in the afternoon after they've been hearing people talking to them all morning. So I said, well, I'll do that, but I want to find out how well you do. The morning crowd was pretty good, but I want to find out how good you are. Here's what happens. It's March Madness, and I love the basketball. I used to be a basketball coach, but I used to tell any athlete that I ever had, I don't care how tall, short, slow, fast, bright, not bright you are, if I can get a bunch of people to work together, we'll surprise a lot of people. So what we're going to do now is a little coordination activity. You need to know two things. Number one, you need to know the rule. The rule is no practice. What's the rule? No, y'all sound like Catholics. I'd like you to sound like Pentecostals and bring it up a notch. So here we go. Ready? What's the rule? See, now that's what Catholics are supposed to sound like right there, all right? Now, the next one is I need to teach you the magic word. The magic word is go. What's the magic word? Go. When I give you the magic word, which is? Go. You will? Go. No, sit down. You've been here just for a few minutes. Here's what I want you to do. When I give you the magic word, all I want you to do is slap your thighs quickly but not hard one time. No practice. But I didn't know where my lap was. Hands up. Ready, set, go. No, that sounds like a rap song. I want to hear one sound. Ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. Ready, set, stop. Okay, you're too eager. You're too eager. Now when I give you the magic word, I want you to slap your thighs one time and clap your hands one time. Here is how not to do it. I want it in rhythm or cadence. That's what I want. No practice. This is really hard. Hands up. Ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. Oh, very good, very good, very good, very good. But you underestimate my sneakiness because now here's where I separate the champs from the chumps. When I give you the magic word, you will slap your thighs one time, clap your hands one time, put your right hand on your nose and your left hand on your right ear. No practice. Hands up. Ready, set, go. Hands up. We try it again. Ready, set, go. Now we will do it 5 times in a row. First time, right hand on the nose, left hand on the right ear. Second time, left hand on the nose, right hand on the left ear. No complaining, people. Hands up. Ready, set, go. 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 Stop it. If you can hear me clap twice. Hear me clap twice. 3 observations about young Catholics in the California area and beyond. Number one, some of you are spastic, all right? All right? But you love yourselves a lot because I saw people. Observation number 2, some of the young men in the house today don't want to look goofy front the late days. So while everybody else was doing this, I saw guys, I know I could do this, dude. Hang on, wait a minute. Observation number 3, if you wind up with something green and sticky on your finger, you went too far. How many of you in here ever been to an arena like this and either seen a sporting event or a concert where the fans tried to do the wave? Anybody? All right. We ain't going to do the wave. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do something like it. We're going to do a personalized tidal, T-I-D-A-L, tidal wave. I'm going to say stand up and make some noise if. Now, if the category applies to you, you will stand up and you will go off for 3 seconds. You will lose your mind for 3 seconds. And then at the end of 3 seconds, you do not, I repeat, you do not sit down, you just shut up. That's it, all right? So you'll be like, woo, woo, woo! And then I'm going to say something else like remain standing if blah, blah, blah. And if it still applies to you, you stand up. But if not, then you sit down. We will do a rehearsal. I know I said no practice. I'm changing the rule. Here it comes. Get ready, get ready, get ready. You got it. It's only 3 seconds. It's not 15 seconds. It's fast. Get ready. Stand up and make some noise if you have a pet at home. Remain standing if you brought the pet here with you this afternoon. Your little brother doesn't count. Sit down. All right, there we go. Now let's find out for real who's here. Stand up and make some noise if you're a senior this year. Remain standing if you think you're going to be a senior again at this time next year. I'm on the 2-year plan. Hey. Stand up and make some noise if you're a freshman this year. Hey, whoa. If you can hear me clap twice. Hear me clap twice. Hear me clap twice. First of all, ain't no booing because you was a freshman once too, Hoss. Second of all, we ain't hating today. Freshmen, do me a favor. Remain standing if you think seniors are cool. Stand up and make some noise if you're a sophomore this year. Remain standing if you think freshmen are cute. Stand up if you're a junior this year. Remain standing if the junior year is the easiest year academically you've ever had. Stand up and make some noise if you think teachers give too much homework. Remain standing if you do all of the homework. Stand up and make some noise if you've been grounded or punished in the last month. Remain standing if you deserved it. Stand up and make some noise if you're an athlete. Remain standing if you have athlete's feet. Stand up if you like country music. Remain standing if the country is Czechoslovakia. Stand up if you like rap or hip-hop music. Remain standing if your parents like rap or hip-hop music. Have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat. Now watch. You don't have to stand up, but I'd like you to do what I ask you to do if it applies to you. If you have your own savings account, raise your right arm. If you have any money in it, raise your left arm. If you did not put on underarm deodorant this morning, please put your hands down. Let me check. If you are brave and like adventure and would be willing to go hang gliding, which is the one-person airplane, if you're brave, show me that by flapping your wings. Hands down, if you told a lie within the last week, please slap your mouth. Y'all might want to check out that confession thing. That'd be good for you there, yeah? Hey, if you said the words, I love you, and you really meant them, put your hands over your heart. I did not say give yourself CPR, but thank you. If this week you said the words, it was my bad or my fault, point your thumb at your chest. If you talk on the phone at least 5 hours a week, put the imaginary cell phone to your ear. If you text message at least 20 times a day, do the imaginary texting thingamajig. If you are on the computer doing stuff for school or doing the face space or the my book or whatever that stuff is called, yeah. If you're doing that stuff at least 5 hours a week, start typing at the keyboard. Now, if you multitask and do more than one of them things at the same time, show me how you multitask. If you are a friendly, outgoing kind of person, shake hands with 3 people sitting around you right now. If you are a shy person, and believe it or not, one, when Mr. Mike was in high school, very shy, and when off stage, sometimes kind of shy too. If you naturally a shy person, I would like you to cover your eyes like so and leave them covered for my next instruction. If you are not shy at all, go and kiss somebody whose face is covered right now. On the cheek, people. If you can hear me clap once. I love watching guys, because my younger brothers and some of you young guys out there, I love y'all. Y'all are so slick, because you want to look tough and macho. So like, if you shy, cover your face. A bunch of guys, no man, I ain't shy. But then y'all get smart. You're like, wait a minute, I'm gonna get a kiss? Maybe a little bit shy. If you can lift 50, if you can lift 50 pounds easily, show me your guns. If you can lift 150 pounds easily, pick up the person sitting next to you right now. And put them down gently. Hear me clap twice. Hear me clap twice. Last week I was in Wisconsin and I forgot to say put them down gently. And one old boy had a John Cena flashback. If you are the baby of your family, suck your thumb. If you usually pray before you fall asleep at night, fold your hands. Thank you. I did not say clap your hand. But If you play a musical instrument, pretend that you're playing it right now. Stop. 8th grade boy in Wisconsin, I said, if you play a musical instrument, pretend that you're playing it. Little boy did this. I said, hey, Bubba, your iPod don't count as a musical instrument. His buddy on the side of him. My name is Mike. I'm from Louisiana. I'm old enough to be your dad. And all I want to do today is talk to you a little bit about called out. All right? So here's the deal. My job, I'm a former high school teacher and coach, former youth minister, but now my job actually is going around talking to people about God, faith, church, religion. That's what I do. But here's the thing. My favorite age group to talk to is the little bitty ones. I love them because they're so cute and innocent and messed up in the head. That's what they are, all right? So, no, let me explain why. Okay, here's the reason why. Because at my church, when I'm not traveling like today, my job is to take one of the scripture Bible reading things and break it into little person English. And I thought I did a good job. We were doing Adam and Eve and the snake. And the priest came along to ask him some questions to see how good I did. He goes, who can tell me what happened to Adam and Eve? And one little boy, I know. He said, what happened? He goes, they got thrown out. And priest said, you're right, they got thrown out. How come? He goes, they got thrown out because they had sinned. And I said, yeah, that's a good answer. And how had they sinned? He goes, they sinned because they was naked. And Father said, no. Naked by itself isn't the sinful part, but how did they know they were naked? He goes, they knew they were naked because they had eaten the fruit of the loom. It's the first day of class with the little ones back at my church, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what y'all know, so let's find out what you know. And so I got all the little children sitting on the floor around me. I'm like, who can tell me where God is? And they're so eager to help. It's like they jacked up on Red Bull and Mountain Dew. All right. One little girl, she raised her hand. I'm like, all right, sweetheart, where's God? She goes, God is in my church. I said, well, that's the number one answer. That's a good answer right there. And then there's a boy, hey, I know. I'm like, all right, dude, where's God? He goes, God is in the stars and the trees. I'm like, yeah, I guess so. God's in nature. Anybody else? A little girl, oh, I know. All right, precious, where's God? He said, God is in people. I said, that's a good answer. And then you know and I know this, that every class has one little person you should not call upon, all right? Some of you in here is that kid, I can tell already. This little boy kept waving his hand. I was done. I'm done. We're finished with this, but he kept waving his hand. I said, all right, partner, you want to answer the question? Good enough. Where's God? He looked me square in the face and said, God is in my bathroom. All right, I'm an old man, and I don't think my hearing's that good. I said, what'd you say? He says, God is in my bathroom. Now, I should have let it go. But I'm a brave man. I asked a follow-up question. What do you mean God is in your bathroom? And he looked at me and goes, every morning when I wake up to go to school, I walk out into the hallway, and my dad is banging on the bathroom door. My God, are you still in there? Now, look at here. Look at here. I want to tell you 3 stories, have you do one activity, and then close with a final story. So technically it's 4 stories. But watch this. I got to be honest with you. I ain't stupid as I look. Because once upon a time, a long, long time ago, I was 16 or 17. We didn't have one as nice and big as this thing here. But I'd go to certain functions from my church, and I'd sit there, and I'd listen to people tell me about my life. Now, you done heard people talk all morning. You're going to hear me talk a little bit this afternoon. And it's like, dude, this don't make no sense. It has nothing to do with me and where I'm at. And I hated it. I hated it. But I really believe there's something for everybody here today, no matter our age. I think everybody here is called out to some degree, and I'll explain what that is. So I'm going to just tell you these 3 stories. First of all, how many of you in here, you love your parents, but you think they're a little bit whacked in the head? Anybody at all? Anybody at all? How many of you have parents who say weird things to you that don't make no sense? Anybody at all? Yep. Now watch. I'm going to talk about when I was your age, but now I'm a member of the club, and I say some of these weird things. First of all, I had a great relationship with my parents. Both of them are dead, and I believe gone home to the Lord Jesus. But now watch this. I had a great relationship, but every once in a while we'd get into it. But first of all, my dad had a pet nickname for me. Boy! One time I said, what is it, Tarzan? Don't do that. No, don't do that. And he would say these things to me that didn't make no sense. He'd look at me and go, boy, you cut your legs off in that lawnmower. Don't come running to me for help. I ain't going to have no legs. I ain't running nowhere. How many of you in here ever get in discussions with your parents where they do all the talking? Yeah, don't you hate that? Yeah. Now watch this. It's very weird for me. It's very weird for me that I do what I do, because when I was your age, church, God, faith, religion was not on the center of my radar screen. And one of the issues where my dad and I butted heads, my dad liked to go to 7 a.m. Sunday morning mass. That ain't my idea of a picnic, rolling out of bed at 10 to 7 to get to church for 7, right? But I would hear that voice down the hall. Boy, it's time to go to church. I was 16. I thought I was a man. So I bucked up my massive chest. I know what you're thinking, but don't do steroids. Thank you. All right, so I said, listen here, old man. This might be your house, but this is my room. By the time I make my own decisions, I done decided I ain't going to church. And if you don't like it, maybe you and I ought to step outside. Don't do that, all right? No, it sounded good in my head, but now look, listen to me. When you go home, like you go home from school, you're going to go home from this today, and if any of your parents are like me and my wife and like my parents were for me, the first question, well, how was school today? My daughter one time told me, she goes, if you ask it again, I will shoot you. It is too big of a question. 10,000 things happened at school today. Ask me who I sat with at lunch or something, but don't ask me all 10,000 questions. Just ask me one, okay? So anyway, so watch this. When you go home and they ask you, what did the man talk about? Listen to me. I'm about to tell you a theory I have about parents. You are not allowed to go home and start a discussion. You are not allowed to go and start an argument. But the next time one comes up naturally, I would like you to see if my little theory comes through about how my parents called me out. When I told my dad I ain't going to church, I learned something important about parents. The angrier you get your parents, the more of their brain they lose. Tick off your parents and watch their brains go, whoa! And it happens in 3 easy phases or 3 easy steps, and I will show them to you with this I ain't going to church thing. My dad, first step when a parent gets upset, gets ticked off, first step is parent loses hearing, okay? And I will show it to you. I could tell my dad was upset because I was like, you could see he was mad because he pulled up his pants about 6 inches. His nostrils started flaring like a dragon, and the one vein you got in the middle of your head poked out like a unicorn. Boom! And he looked at me and said, you what? I'm like, oh my gosh, he lost his hearing. My dad went deaf. Hey! I was going to try to help him out and do some sign language. Now, I don't know sign language, but I thought I'd help him. I'm like, I'll help him. I'm not going. No. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant, but oh no, it got him more upset because he came over here to phase number 2. Phase number 2 is parent loses memory. And you know how he pulled up his pants 6 inches high. He looked at me, he goes, just who do you think you are? He forgot I was his kid. I lived there 15 years. He forgot it was me. So I thought I'd help him out with sign language again. I'm like, I'm your son. No, I thought it was brilliant, but it didn't help because he went to phase number 3. And phase number 3 is even worse. Phase number 3 is parent loses every brain cell they got in their head. How can you tell? Because they will ask you the most unintelligent question a grown-up could ask a young person. Do you want me to whip you? Really? Well, hang on, Slick. Let me think it over for just a second. Yes, Father, beat me, please. And you can tell they done lost their mind because right as they're about to spank you, they come up with this line of reverse science from the parent handbook. This is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. Where did you go to school? I do not think your equation is true. So I've decided if this ever happens to you, here's the proper response. Son, this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. Dad, I love you very much, and I don't want you to feel no pain. Let's trade places. Give me the belt. Come on. No. Now, here's the deal. It's really very funny that I do what I do for a living today, talking about God, faith, church, religion, all kinds of people. Because back then, I didn't like the idea of being called out. And I even used to ask my students, I was a high school teacher in a Catholic school, the very first day of class, I'd ask my students, I'm like, how come more young people today don't get into God, faith, church, religion? It never failed. One of my basketball players would answer the question. And you could tell it was one of my basketball players because this is how they sat in the classroom. I'd call on him like, Bono, how come young people don't get into God, faith, church, religion? He looked at me, he say, Mr. P, it's like this, right? I believe in God, yo. I do. I believe in God. I believe in God because he HBO. I said, what'd you say? He said, you heard me, man. God, he HBO. I said, what do you mean he HBO? He looked at me and goes, he helped a brother out. But Mr. P, dig it. I'm young right now, man. It's my time to live and have some fun. But don't worry, me and God, we're going to hook up later when I get old, like you. I know, man, I got in touch with my feminine side. I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. No, but a lot of us, when we're called out about this faith thing, it doesn't feel like it's for me. It feels for maybe when I'm a grown-up, maybe when I'm out in Obama's house, maybe when I'm out of college, maybe when I get married and have kids of my own. Then I'm going to get serious about this God thing. But sometimes it takes something else to call us out. Now, we're going to go to story number 2, if we can get that slide up. Eventually it'll get up there. Slide number 2, story number 2. But anyway, I've been married to my wonderful wife, Marlene, for 25 years. All right, so... Now, the story I'm about to tell you happened about 28 years ago. We had just started dating 28 years ago. And I had just gotten my graduate degree, my master's degree. So my first job, I'm going to teach and coach in the Catholic high school. And during the summer, that's a sweet job, Jack. You open the gym at 9. Let's go, baby. Let's go, boys. We're going to shoot. We're going to lift. We're going to get strong. Here we go, boys. Here we go. Here we go. And we'd go in the gym from 9 to noon, lock the gym at noon. My girlfriend got off of her job at 3 o'clock. She lived 30 miles away, but it was worth it because her parents had a swimming pool behind the house. Little burger, little beverage, little bikini. Life was not bad. Thank you very much. All right, so now watch this. No. So here's the deal. So now, man, during the summer, I'm seeing my new girlfriend 5, 6, 7 nights a week. Well, then the school year starts, and I'm in class until 3 o'clock. I got practice till 6. I got to grade your paper, plan your lesson, cook my supper, iron my shirt, take my shower. I ain't got time to drive 30 miles. How was your day? Yeah, I didn't have time for that. So I went from seeing her 5, 6, 7 nights a week to seeing her one night on the weekend. Whoo, and she did not like it. And she proceeded to let me know. Wah, 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 wah. That's right, she taught Charlie Brown. Okay, so here we go. Now watch. How many of you in here, you're normally a kind, calm person, but every once in a while, you lose your mind and you ain't thinking, and you say the very first thought that comes to your head, you don't filter it, and when it comes out and you hear the words right away, you know you've blown it, and you're like, oh no, come back to me. Anybody in here ever do that? Anybody? Hands down. Now watch this. I'd called her, during the weeks, but I hadn't seen her. So it's been 2 weeks since I've seen her. I take her to a movie on a Saturday night. We come back. We're at her house. We're in my car. And she gives me that famous line that all men love to hear. We need to talk. Hang on. So all of a sudden, she starts letting it rip. This is not what I had planned. I mean, during the summer, I saw you 5, 6, 7 nights a week. Now I see you one night on the weekend. Mike, it's not even your season. Y'all are just doing training. Season starts in November, and the first 3 weekends are out-of-town tournaments. Does that mean I'm going to see you no nights for 3 weeks? This is not good for our relationship. Now, she don't talk like that, but she ain't here to defend herself, so what the heck, all right? It's all right. You know? So, now, young ladies, I don't know how many of you in here pray, but I would say this. What I would say to you is when you're lying down in bed tonight about to fall asleep, I would invite you to say this prayer of thanks that I'm not 35 years younger and on the dating market, because when you hear what I said to her, you're going to realize that man is a varsity loser. That's how bad this boy is, all right? It was bad. Young men, look at me. Not an expert with the women. I'm not. But I will, as an older man, share with you a piece of advice that may help you so you don't make the same mistake. Don't do this. Here we go. We're sitting in the car, and I'm not making this up to juice up the story. I said it, and I said it just like this. And if my wife were here, she would nod very quietly, yes, the idiot did it. So she's like, this is not good for our relationship. I turned to look at her. I said, let me make this clear for you. Don't you dare make me choose between you and basketball, because if you do, you're going to lose. It didn't even sound good in my head. And I knew, I was like, no! It's like one of them war movies, grenade! You wanted to jump on it and smother it before it blew up. And I'm like, yeah, and you can't take it back. And I knew as soon as I turned to look at her, she was going to kick me to the curb. I knew it flat. I knew straight up she was going to kick me to the curb. I turned to look at her. You could see she was upset. Teardrop rolling down her cheek. I am not juicing up the story. She didn't even pause a split second. She looked me square in the face and said, I am not asking you to choose between me and basketball. I'm asking you to include me and not shut me out. The reason I tell you this story is not to show you what an idiot I am. I think you figured that out in the first 30 seconds of the program, or at least from the lovely video. But I'm stash-tastic. Okay, all right, so, but, and I'll even tell you the story, tell you what a remarkable woman I've been married to for 25 years, and she is. But I tell you that because I really think, without being sappy or making this overcomplicated, I think that's what God wants to tell teenagers. I am not asking you to choose between your friends and me. I'm asking you to include me and not shut me out. I'm not asking you to choose between video games and me. Son, let's go to church. Wait, Mom, I'm almost on level 37 on World of Weird Crack. I am not asking you to choose between a boyfriend or girlfriend and me. I'm asking you to include me in how you relate to them and don't shut me out. But sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard because we think God doesn't want us to be happy. And I can't believe I don't believe God would play that way. But I do think we need to include him sometimes. And I think he's calling for us where we are, even with all our junk and all our family. Now, the third story of being called out comes from somebody younger. The third story of being called out comes from my daughter, Megan. That's a picture of Meg on the screen right there, all right? Now, Meg's a freshman at LSU, but now watch this. Here's the deal. A couple of Christmases ago, Megan gave me my own iTouch thingamajig, music player. How many of you have your own MP3 player, iTouch, something? How many of you got your own musical something? Yeah. All right, hands down, thank you. Now watch this. This one's special, not because of bells and whistles. It's special because Megan is tight with her money. Megan don't give up her money. We be at McDonald's, I'm like, buy me an ice cream cone. She goes, no, you got your own money. I put you through Catholic school. That's your job. Really. So when I open this up on Christmas morning, these run for about like $280 to $300 back where I'm from. I open it up, I got all verklempt. Ooh. I'm like, I love you, but I'm still going to ground you anyway. And so we're going through this stuff. And she's like, look, Dad, I know you're terrible with technology. Do me a favor. Let me load it for you. I'm like, Megan, I'm going to be on the road traveling, speaking, and there are going to be times I want to get some new iTunes stuff on here. I'm going to take care of it, baby. Dad, you suck at this. You're not good at this. Please let me do this. Please let me do this. I'm like, Megan, I got this, baby. I got this. And she's like, no, Dad. And we argued back and forth. She goes, look, I only have 2 weeks to bring it back to Best Buy. If you don't do it in them 2 weeks, I'm going to be very upset. I'm like, I will do this. But I kept getting busy and forgetting. And plus, when you open it up, the little box, there's no real instruction. You got to go online to learn all this stuff. And there's a lot of buttons on this thing, right? So I'm like, whoa, I don't know. So all of a sudden, she kept coming after me like, hey, did you load it? I'm like, I'm going to get it. Back off, chick. And I use that line everybody wants to use. I brought you in this world. I could take you out, girl. Yeah. Now watch. So all of a sudden, I'm like, I got to get the chick off my case, right? I got to get off my case. So I took it out the box and I put it on my desk. She came home. She goes, ha, you loaded it. I'm like, nope, I'm using it as a paperweight. She looked at me. She goes, oh, man, don't make me hurt you. She goes, you're not serious. I'm like, Megan, I'm going to get around to it. She goes, Dad, we only got 2 days left. That's a lot of money I gave up, huh? You know, I saved my babysitting money from some really nasty children I babysit. I did this, I sacrificed. Please, let me go trade it in for a cap or a tie and give you some cash so you can buy what you want. But please, I'm like, Megan, I got this. And then I realized it was the last day of the 2 weeks and I hadn't done it. So when she came in, I had it on the floor. And she goes, what is that? I'm like, it's a doorstop. My daughter went grown up. You could see she was losing her mind like a parent. She goes, what did you say? I said, it's a doorstop. And I could tell I was getting dressed down by my own kids. She goes, really? I'm like, yes, look, it's shiny and it fits and it's very stylish and the door don't move. It's very nice. She's like, you got a piece of wood to do that. I'm like, yeah, but this is pretty. We could engrave it. Daddy, you the stopper of my life, you know? And then, man, she went total adult grown up on me. She picked it up and she said, I'm going to just ask you one more time, Dad. Do you understand how much I gave up for you to have this? And I do. I love music. But I had never broken down and bought one for myself. She goes, do you understand how much I gave up for it? I said, yeah, Meg, but I'm going to get to it. She goes, it's kind of late, Dad. I said, but baby, I will. She goes, Daddy. She said, do you understand what you can do with this? I'm like, but Megan, it works perfectly fine as a paperweight. It reminds me you love me every day. I can use it as a door, and the door doesn't blow open when I'm trying to do my work. It reminds me you love me. She goes, yeah, it sure does. And you could use it as a paperweight, and you could use it as a doorstop. But Dad, you know you can play music with this? Dad, you know you can do videos with this? Dad, you know you can store photos on this? Dad, you know you can do email with this? Dad, you know you can do games like ticked-off birds? Dad, do you understand what they got on this thing? And she kept going on and on and on. I'm like, but Megan, and then all of a sudden she looked at me square in the eye. She goes, yeah, you can use it as a doorstop. You can use it as a paperweight, but it was made for so much more than that. And you know it. And every time that you choose to use it for something that it's not made for, you insult me. When your child dresses you down, you're like, I will go and load the iPod. Hey, let me make a couple of points and start wrapping this thing up. Look at me. Look at me. I don't care if you're a 4.0 student. I don't care if you're struggling to stay in by a thread. I don't care if you got 5,000 friends on Facebook. I don't care if you're not on Facebook. I don't care if you're a stud athlete or you can't walk and chew gum at the same time. I don't care if you are Miss Popular, Mr. Lonely. I really don't care. I don't care if you're outgoing and zany and a comedian or quiet, shy, and reserved. I don't care what you are. Every one of us in here that is breathing is an iPod. But there's a bunch of us who play like we are doorstop. There's a bunch of us who play like we are paperweight because like me, I'm too scared of all the stuff in here that I won't know how to run it. I love when teenagers come help me organize folders and tell me about new apps that they use because I don't even know where to start on some of this stuff. I just got the iPhone this Christmas and I love it. But here's the deal. When we start talking about technology, a lot of people, not just teenagers, start doing comparison. And we start comparing. What phone you got? You got the 4S, you got Siri, you got this, you got that, you got Android, yeah. And we start bang, 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 and we start comparing, bang, 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 bang. And not only that, we don't just compare about the phones, we start comparing our playlists. Ooh, how many songs you got, Mr. Mike? I think I got about 1,400. She, loser, I got like 84,000. And we compare. And here's the problem though. My playlist ain't supposed to be your playlist. And guess what? I'm kind of hip. I got some of your music. I got Lady Goo Goo on here. I got that stuff, man. And here's the deal. My daughter says, Dad, you might like this new tune by the Black Eyed Peas. You might like that. Yeah, I like the beat. That's a good one. And then I show her some of my own music. Some of it she don't like, some of it she does. She got a playlist with old person music, the Beatles, some of the 70s and 80s stuff. But now watch. My problem is a lot of us look at the person next to us and wish we had their playlist of life. Instead of being happy, or instead of understanding that we were made to be different and I'm not going to have the same number of songs, the same playlist, we compare and we cut ourselves short. And all of a sudden we take this awesome iPod of life that we've been given by God, who sacrificed a whole heck of a lot, and we use it as a doorstop or a paperweight because we're scared. We're scared we might be different. We're scared somebody's going to call us out. Who you trying to be? And here's the thing about this thing. I play it, 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 I play it. The battery goes dead. And the only way for me to get life in it again is to recharge it or sync it up. And I got to do that with God. Because if I try to be who I am without letting him in the picture and including him somewhere, I'm going to die. If I try to run on my own power alone, I'm going to die. I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to be juiced. And the other thing about it is, I love about this thing is if you ever watch pro sports or if you watch March Madness, in an arena like this, when the athletes come in, they usually show LeBron James, or they show somebody coming in, they usually got their little machine and they got the earbuds in their ears. And don't get me wrong, as a coach, as a player, and now as a speaker, there's certain music I like to listen to just to get me juiced up before I hit a stage or before whatever. So yeah, I get it. But here's the deal. In the real life world, you and I were not given this iPod just to put the earbuds in our ears. We were called out to go bring our playlist to the world. I let Megan listen to some of our playlists. Some of it she don't like. Some of it makes sense to her. She adds it. Same thing you're supposed to do. I'm glad you came. I hope you got some laughs. I hope you met some cool people. I hope you got to think a little bit. But if it stays here, no good. No good, no good, no good. How many of you in here have a friend right now who's fighting with their parents? How many of you have a friend who's fighting with their parents? Hands down. How many of you have friends who are having boyfriend, girlfriend struggles and all that stuff? Hands down. How many of you in here have friends who are struggling academically and it could be a hit or miss if they keep going on or if they fail out? Hands down. How many of you got friends who are fighting some type of physical illness or challenge in their lives right now? How many of you in here have friends who have had thoughts of depression or even worse? How many of you had that? How many have friends who are going through something either on the sexual end or on the alcohol or the drug end? How about that? How many of you have friends who have to deal with the gang issue? Hands down. It is not enough for you to have come to Youth Day. I am about to call out 7,400 young people. I did it this morning. I have no idea who's going to take me up on it, but I have to answer to somebody else if I called you out or not. Here comes the call. Do me a favor. How many of you care about that person you just named when you raised your hand? How many of you honestly care about him, really care about him? Good. Do me a favor. It's against the rules. I did this with 23,000 people about 3 months ago, and it worked. I'm hoping we can pull it off today, but you got to work with me. In just a second, when I give you the magic word, turn on your cell phone. Ready, set, go. Turn them on, turn them on, turn them on. Don't look at the text. Don't tweet. Don't say a word. Just turn them on. Do me a favor. Find that person's name who you worried about. Find that friend's name who you concerned about. Pull up their name and get ready to start sending them a text. I'll tell you what to put in the text. All right? It doesn't have to be these exact words, but you can put something like this in there. Ready? You matter to me, period. I want you to know that I care, period. Right now, I am praying with 7,400 other people for you. And hit send. Hit send. And turn them off. Turn them off. Turn them off, and I'll tell you why. If you can hear me clap twice. Hear me clap twice. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I believe you do. When I watch you walk the halls and get your lunch and go to the other workshops this morning, when I watch you, I can see that this generation of young people has soul. But we're an iPod and we're called to share our music. We're called to bring the music of God's love, compassion, kindness, truth, purity. We're called to bring it out there. And the way we do that is not just by a text message. I'm glad you just texted them. Your assignment, and this is the hard part of being called out, I need you in the next 7 days to walk up to them and hold them by the shoulders and say, please don't interrupt me. I am worried about you. I don't tell you enough that you're one of my friends, and I'm going to keep praying for you. How are you? It may seem a little geekish, but I need you to follow up, because a text is one thing. When it's eye to eye and they can't interrupt you, now we're talking souls. There's an old saying, the eyes are the window to the... And there's a lot of souls who need God's love, even from iPods. Because some of you are like, Mr. Mike, that was fun and everything, but dude, you got to understand, I don't think God wants me because I ain't so right. Well, let me tell you something. I'm not stupid. Y'all are some good young people, and there's 7,400 of you in here, but I guarantee you, some of you think you're the only freak in here who love your parents, but y'all are going at it like this right now, and you don't want to live in that house no more. Some of you think you're the only freak in here. Your parents are playing you like a ping pong ball in the middle of a divorce. Some of you in here think that you're the only young person in here who has one parent, or you're living with a grandparent and you feel cheated. Some of you in here think you're the only freak in here who works hard at school, but you have a learning challenge and there must be something wrong with you. Or that you have some physical ailment or challenge. There must be something wrong with you, that God didn't like you for some reason. There's some of us in here who go and we have feelings for some guy or girl and they don't even know we exist and we feel like we're weird. Or on Monday when you go to the school cafeteria and you go to sit down, everybody's talking about this movie or this game or this music and you don't feel like you fit in, so there's got to be something wrong with you. Some of you in here feel like the only freak who goes to a party and you want to stay straight, but you slip up and you can't beat that reputation. Or you can't beat the Facebook drama that's been following you from something over 2 or 3 years ago. Some of you in here think you're the only freak who's made sexual mistakes. Some of you in here think you're the only freak who's lost somebody in your life. Somebody in here thinks they're the only freak who's here at this religious thingamajig, and I'm not even sure there is a God or if he exists, because I got a lot of questions and a lot of anger. Well, guess what? Here comes the big close. You ain't the only freak. The last time I checked, they called him a freak. And the last time I checked, he hung out with the freaks. And the last time I checked, he called ordinary freaks to be the ones who brought his message out. Time to close it up. Here we go. How many of you in here saw Bruce Almighty? How many saw Bruce? Hands down. How many of you saw Evan Almighty? Awesome. I'm not going to talk about either of those movies. All right, here we go. I'm going to talk about a movie the grown-ups will remember, kind of the same story plot, but 30 years earlier. The name of the movie was Oh God, okay? Some of you that old, that's good. All right, here we go, all right? Watch this. Same kind of movie plot. God shows up to an ordinary guy who's not in the church. This guy is the guy who's your produce manager at the grocery store. He puts the apples, the broccoli, and all those fresh fruit and vegetable out. And he shows up to the guy and goes, do me a favor. I need you to remind people that even though they can't see me with their naked eye, I'm still very much real and I'm still very much showing up. And I'd like you to show up at these big televised mega church, preachy services. And while the guy's preaching, just simply stand up and say, "Excuse me, been sent here by God, got a little message for you." And just tell them that I don't like the way they're living and they need to really put the emphasis on serving and loving other people rather than looking fine with all their jewelry and cars and stuff. And so our boy says, "But I don't even believe in you." And it's this funny, deep movie. And finally the guy starts going and doing this stuff. And the ministers get all ticked off and they put him on trial for defamation of character, talking bad about somebody in public. So they put him in there and they put him on trial, and it's funny deep. The hotel scene is hilarious. If you've never seen it, it's a little bit dated, but it's a good movie. At the end, the judge comes back and says, "Jerry," that was the guy's name. He goes, "Jerry, smart man, holy man, but your story is kind of too incredible for me to believe. As crazy as what's happened in this courtroom has been, I have to rule against you. I'm ruling in favor of the ministers. Please don't go to their church anymore. Court is adjourned." Boom. Now, he done lost his job because of the negative publicity on the TV. Nobody wants to buy fruits and vegetables from a Jesus freak. Number two, his wife and kids are being teased all over town. "Oh, your dad's that weird one." And now he done lost the case. So he's driving home and he hits a traffic light, and there at this park, there's never been a traffic light and it stays red. It will not change. It's stuck. He wants to run it, but there's a cop car at the intersection. Everybody in the town knows who he is. The last thing he needs is a ticket on top of it. So he's not going to run the light. Right outside his window is a phone booth. Now, a phone booth is this thing that looks like a closet where you put money in and you actually make a call. All right, so they got this phone booth, never been there before, phone ringing off the hook. He goes, "I'm not answering it, I'm not answering it, I'm not answering it." Finally, he can't take it no more, gets out the car, picks up the phone. "Hello?" Poof! God. He looks at me and goes, "Did you see what happened in the courtroom today?" "I'm God, I see everything." "Well, then you saw I made a huge fool out of myself today. You were awesome. You brought the message I wanted you to bring." "Oh, really? Then why did I lose my job?" He said, "Dude, there are other jobs. You'll find a good one. Have a little trust." "Really? My wife and kids are being teased all over town." "I know that's hard, but they're good people and you're a good man. We're going to work through this." "Really? Well, I tell you what, we just lost the case. How's that sound?" "It wasn't about winning the case. It was about getting the message across." "Well, really? Well, I don't think I did too well because they didn't believe me and they sure don't believe in you." And then, even though it's Hollywood, the next line out of God's mouth changed my life. The character of God in the movie looks at the dude and says, "You got this all wrong. I didn't come so that you would believe in me. I came to let you know I believe in you." And my dear young, no, stop, don't. My dear young people, because I got to close this up and we got to move on. Look at me. I'm talking to you as if my 19-year-old daughter were in this room. St. Catherine of Siena said, "Be who you were called to be, and we will set the world ablaze. Be who you were supposed to be. Claim your playlist. Don't try to be somebody else. Almighty God wants your unique blend, and He wants you to bring your music to your friends that I'm never going to get to. God is calling us out because He needs us to be hands and feet and arms and legs and eyes and ears for one another. Because He's still here. And He uses ordinary iPods as long as we don't use them as paperweights and as doorstops. In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, Almighty God, we pray for those people we just texted. Some are hurting with parents. Some are hurting about sex. Some are hurting about boyfriend, girlfriend. Some are hurting about family. Some are hurting about grades. Some drugs. Some alcohol. Some eating. Some cutting. Some depression. There's all kinds of stuff, dear God. And you alone know. But you know what? I'm not just going to pray for them. I'm going to ask you to give me and my young brothers and sisters the strength to be your iPods. To be your iPods, to bring your music, not just to say I'm going to pray, but we're going to hold them. We're going to hold them next week. We're going to hold them by the arms and tell them we still care. And we're going to walk alongside them so that maybe, just maybe, not only will they hear the music of your love, but if we're synced up and connected to the apps of the church and the sacraments and the people of God, we're going to feel your power running through us, and we will be alive, and we will set the world ablaze. So God, we give you glory and praise and thanks for everybody who planned today, for the people who drove us here. God, we ask you to hear our prayer as we give you praise and glory, as together we pray a prayer from the second grade, but we're going to do it with faith and volume and feeling. Glory be to the Father and to the Son and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Thanks for your time and your attention. God bless. That ain't right.
Thank you, Mike.
I don't know about you guys, but that talk inspired me.
I know what you mean. After hearing him talk, I want to be just like Mike now.
Me too. Now I really want to be like Mike.
Seriously though, I like how he reminded us that it's okay to call out to God.
Mike really inspired me to accept more of God's challenges, even when they're not that easy.
But before we move on, let's give a big round of applause for Crespi's taiko drummers who will be performing for us later.
And now I'd like to challenge Jesse and Cooper over here to lead us in our theme song again. Take it away.
Come on, let's get up on your feet. Woo! Put your hands together now. Let's bring some energy into this place. Let's get a little bounce, huh? A little bounce in our step. Don't wanna hide. Don't wanna blend into the night. Don't wanna be the one who's standing on my own. Got to break out. I've gotta lay aside this doubt. I'm gonna break free from these chains keeping me down. We make our presence known. Let the holy thunder roll. Call out. Accept the challenge. Call out. It's a new beginning. Lives are changing. People praying. Call out. Accept the challenge. Call out. We light through the darkness. We are shouting. Hearts proclaiming. Come on. Lord, draw us near. Let in our living all here. Word of mercy and forgiveness we now sing. We sing, we hear your call. With the dignity of all. For all creation is the gift that your love brings. We make our presence known. Let the holy thunder roll. Call out. Accept the challenge. Call out. New beginning. Lives are changing. People praying. Call out. Accept the challenge. Call out. Bring light to the darkness. We are shouting. Hearts proclaiming. Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. For those unwelcome and rejected. Challenge accepted. For those forgotten and neglected. Challenge accepted. There you go. For those abused and disrespected. For those alone and disconnected. We make our presence known. Let the holy thunder roll. Bring it home, church.